The Hulu/Disney Plus Alien Earth series has come and gone with 8 episodes in the can. And by can, I mean the trash can, because I did not care for this show at all. And I think I made that Billy crystal clear across the 8 episodes I recapped. But I want to put a bow on this thing and then leave it in the dust once and for all. And so I cobbled together a list of the top 5 egregious things this show did. 5 critical decisions made that I think accumulated into the overall pile of ass we ended up getting with Alien Afterbirth. Some of the defenders out there will say, hey, that's for season 2 to address, all right? You can't expect them to wrap everything up. Could they wrap anything up? I actually don't even have a problem with the wrap-ups. It's just the execution and the direction the show took to begin with. So, without further poo-poo, here are the top 5 reasons I think Alien Earth failed. If you would have told me 10 years ago that Disney would acquire Aliens, make a TV show, and put it on the backdrop of a Peter Pan story, I would have said you're out of your goddamn mind. But that's exactly what they did. So in the number 5 spot, which could also be in the number 1 spot, this list is interchangeable, just a way for conversation to take place. We have the Peter Pan angle, with a little bit of Ice Age sprinkled in for good measure. Why Alien Earth went all in on Peter Pan, I will never for the life of me understand. Maybe there was a licensing issue with the character and they didn't want it to go into public domain, but it ended up going into public domain anyways because we had that twisted childhood universe Pan movie last year, or maybe it was this year, I don't know, time has no meaning anymore for me. But I do know this. Watching Peter and the Lost Boys fuck around in the animated show every so often on monitors in an Alien series does not up the ante in terms of thrills. And it's one thing for Boy Cavalier to just really like the character in the movie, but it's another to base the entire premise off of it. Because what we have here is this supposed boy genius who's kind of a dipshit. Now, he's a full-on dipshit, where he hatches this cockamamie scheme to take little kids who are dying from ailments, put them in adult robotic synthetic bodies, give them all new names based on characters from Peter Pan, and then do all of this stuff in secret on an island where these children adults can run around like they own the place. On top of all of this, they have super powered bodies. They can jump high, they have super strength, they can fly off the side of a mountain and land with no problems. Why? What is the point of that? They half-ass explain in the first episode or 2 that the reason they have to use kids' minds or souls or whatever it is to transfer into the bodies is because adults cannot handle the process. A child's mind is still in development. It's still in flux. It's bending, it's moving, it can be shaped. But we also learn later that these minds are not what they seem to be because some of the stuff is artificially enhanced, such as fear, joy. These are all programs that they can tweak and adjust, making it seem like those minds were just stolen and the kids cease to exist in these bodies. The bodies just think that the kids are existing in their bodies. Listen, there's a whole interesting aspect to this that they do not even bother cracking into very much. And I do think there is an interesting story that could have been presented here if they wouldn't have given the bodies super abilities. I mean, for fuck's sakes, these kids at one point are told they can download anything and learn about everything. Yet outside of Toodles or Smee or one of these dumbass kids, no one seems to do that at all. And then there's the Wendy thing. Holy shit, what is going on with this chick? Marcy becomes Wendy, who becomes Neo from The Matrix. She's controlling machines, she's accessing computer libraries, she can freeze hybrids in their tracks. The bottom line is watching grown-ass adults acting like children is not very entertaining. Granted, I do that on this show all the time, but this ain't no Alien series. This is just a jackass talking about an Alien series. And speaking of jackasses, I think that's the perfect segue to number 4 on the list. Everyone in this is dumb. Cock's on the table, as the expression goes. I don't consider myself a very smart individual. So if I'm watching a show and I'm thinking, man, that's really stupid, then it's really, really stupid. The best episode for me by far was number 5, when we went back with the space crew on the ship and they were all getting eviscerated by the alien critters on board. It was easily the best episode because we weren't dealing with the Neverland Ranch dipshits. Instead, we were focused on a small crew in space where we can absolutely hear them scream. But even the best episode of Alien Earth, as it turns out, is kind of a turd. Every person on this ship is a moron. You got people in the sick bay, no masks on, no suits. They're cutting a person open, smoking a cigarette. Are you out of your fucking mind? We see the supposed doctor on the ship in the laboratory with all the little alien specimens they've collected. No mask, no suit. She's eating a fucking sandwich. She's got her water bottle open. No cares in the world. Meanwhile, they're housing these critters in some of the most ridiculous contraptions ever. Nothing more than a little butthole top opener that's a slide away mechanism. You have an eyeball squid in a glass container that you set high up on a counter very easily for it to rock and fall and break, which it does! Don't you think you would contain them a little bit better than the equivalent of putting a cup over the head? As dumb as the people on the ship are, we then have to go back to Neverland with Boy Cavalier. There's confident, there's arrogant, and then there's whatever the hell this guy is. He is so far removed from anything registering a human thought, it's beyond comical. When the series starts to wind down and there's aliens running amok and half of his staff is dead, he is seen skipping to the loo down hallways. He's having one-on-one conversations with sheep eyeball squid while in the next room over, his men are being slaughtered. This guy is a moron. And he's doing all this research at a state-of-the-art lab that seems to have virtually no security at all. Once more, the alien specimens are just put in, I think they're glass cages. We have established early on that the bugs that are in one of them eat metal. They eat through steel. They can eat through anything. Yet, we'll just let them sit in there. But don't worry, they have one of the 12-year-old dumbass synthetics going in to feed them all dinner. And he does this on a prison tray like they're actual humans with an open hatch to put the food in. What? They're bugs! It's a fucking sheep! Why are you giving it a tray of food? On top of that, you have the competitors sneaking into this island like it's nothing at all, probably because there's no electric fencing, there's no laser fencing, this is the future after all, there's no drones hovering around patrolling. Instead, you have the Disney Plus Stupid Side Squad Marines, of which there's like 6, that just walk down the same trail. Oh, the graves are still there of the dead kids that we buried. Now, granted, this stuff does cost a lot of money, but they are spending billions of dollars on each individual synthetic. So you would think that a checks notes trillion-dollar company could put up some goddamn fencing. We also know that the Lost Boys have cameras in their eyes recording 24/7. Short for 7. And yet every episode, it seems like Boy Cavalier is taken aback when he learns that one of the kids is off gallivanting around with the xenomorph. Dame Doctor Lady and her stupid husband, who I didn't even know were married for like 4 episodes because they had zero chemistry or physical contact, are completely clueless as well. What was the point of these characters? He's up and fired, and then he just takes his time leaving. Unlike any protocol at a company, especially one with so many secrets to hide, they just let him stick around after he's fired, make a day of it there, until he's eventually killed off. His wife never tracks him down, has no future contact with him. Why were they married even? What purpose did it serve? What purpose does any of this serve? It's a complete waste of time, and I believe a couple $100 million. Almost as big of a waste as the characters I want to talk about in number 3. What is the point of introducing a bunch of cool new alien creatures if you're going to do virtually nothing with them. Outside of the main draw, the xenomorph, there are 4 other new species introduced in this show. There's the parasitic blood tick that makes a pretty grand appearance in episode 5, killing off a couple of the crew members by getting all jiggy with it around the body, sucking the blood, pumping up. It's really gross, and it's one of the coolest moments in the show. Then there's the giant hanging ball sack orchid thing. It's gonna spend 7 episodes just kind of teasing that there's something inside. It slithers around with its little tendrils until episode 8 rolls around and it finally makes its play. Its big spring to action, which is to kill red-headed girl that leads the Disney Plus Marines. I have no idea what her name is. They were also incredibly inept and pointless in the show, but wow, what a treat. I'm sure glad we built that up for nothing. Then we have your classic giant flies, who also do one cool thing where they kill off, I don't know the character's name, one of the Lost Boys dies. It's pretty sweet, and then they do nothing again. I think the show forgot that they were even on the island. They could escape at any time, and maybe they did something and we just didn't see it. But yeah, most of these creatures kind of get a cool buildup, some intrigue, and then like everything else in the show, they do nothing with it at all. But as disappointing as all of those are, there's one offender that rises above the rest, and that's the eyeball squid. This little shit became a fan favorite pretty early on, mainly because the xenomorph sucks in the show. We'll get to that later. This thing was pretty gnarly though, how it scampered around, it ripped into the socket of something, and then it takes control. This show blue eyeballed us for 8 episodes. We kept getting hints that Boy Cavalier was going to put the eye into someone else so he could have a conversation. Some were even suspecting he would use it on himself. Maybe the eyeball squid has an entire army off planet and he could come into contact with them, bringing them down to Earth and invading the place. There were so many possibilities. So of course the show does none of that. Instead, it houses itself into a sheep for the majority of the season, where it just kind of ominously looks out the window, pissed off, and it communicates here and there with Boy Cavalier, but otherwise, nothing. It eventually will go in the dead body of Arthur or Andy or Andrew. I forgot who cares what his name is. He goes into his dead corpse and rises, because I guess he can do that too. He can bring brain activity back to something that's completely dead. Too bad he couldn't do that for the series as a whole. The only thing that rivals Eyeball Squid in terms of disappointing is our xenomorph itself. In the number 2 spot is our slimy, nasty, acid-spitting motherfucker itself, the xenomorph. There are 3 on the show. Do I got that right? I think there's 3. There's the one that Wendy kills when she's on the ship with a checks notes paper cutter. By the way, that paper cutter must have been made out of adamantium because she slices and dices this dude. Paper cutter's unscathed. But all the xenomorphs on this show are incredibly inconsistent all around. Sometimes they rip through bodies like it's nothing. Other times they're curious little critters and they'll just walk right up to you and be like, ding, ding, ding. Hi. Run. And the thing that really drove me up a wall is how many times the director would choose not to show the carnage. So many sequences where the xenomorph is finally gonna bust open shop, the camera turns away, or the action takes place against a wall with shadows, or it's blurred out behind someone's shoulder, or the show does this obnoxious music video style editing where you're just getting quick strobing flashes of things happening. And then we have the Xeno puppy. Oh my God. The one thing I was hoping they wouldn't do in this show, they ended up doing in this show. And that was turning our xenomorph into basically a raptor from Jurassic World. Wendy is Owen in this situation. She is the xenomorph whisperer. She learned the language. How? Unexplained, doesn't matter. And she's able to give it commands, which get far more specific the further into the series we go. Keep in mind, she only starts learning to communicate with the thing in like episode 6. On top of all of that, the show makes one of the most ridiculous choices ever, which is to show the xenomorph in broad daylight like it's the Predator. But it does not translate. It's just like watching Batman during the day. He looks ridiculous and out of place. He takes cover in the night, in the shadows. That's how the xenomorph works. So seeing this thing slow motion hop from a tree and trying to kill people while clearly looking like a bozo in an alien costume is not translating to fear. It translates to laughter. And that's the last thing I want to be doing when I'm watching an alien property, which brings me to the number one spot. Alien Earth, above all else, is not scary. It's not thrilling. It's not frightening. Occasionally, it does something a bit disturbing, such as in episode 5 with the ticks on the side of the neck or the bugs crawling inside the guy's stomach. That was all solid. But the problem here is even these great moments are wrapped around a really bad shell of idiocracy. I don't get invested or take things seriously when so many inept, incompetent people are surrounding the situation. And yes, people make foolish decisions, people make dumb choices all the time. It can be forgiven to an extent. But this is so far gone, like basic protocols being ignored. And most of the characters in this show are either a synthetic, a cyborg, or a hybrid. There are very few normal human people, and even the human people are obnoxious and really insane too. Like Boy Cavalier, he's barely a person, or the dumb simp brother who I wanted to die before the first episode was done. There is no one on this show to connect to. I don't even know who I'm rooting for in this show. Who is the hero? Who is the protagonist? Wendy and the Lost Boys? They're assholes. They kill a bunch of people for no good reason. And even when you think one of them dies, the next episode they're perfectly fine. The redhead, I think her name is Nibs. I call her female Ron Weasley. She is seen getting bodied at the end of episode 7. Wendy freaks out. What did you do? What did you do? We're under the illusion that this chick is gone. But then we fire up the next episode, she's perfectly fine. Still wearing the same t-shirt, I believe. No holes, nothing in her. Perfectly unscathed, like nothing happened. I'm sorry, did she go to the sick bay in between episodes? Who revived this bitch? And also, does she have the wardrobe of a cartoon character? When they open the closet, it's just that same reddish-orange shirt over and over again? Give me a break. It's hard to be scared. It's hard to find fear in a show that takes itself so unseriously. When I'm watching a TV series and there's supposed to be an emotional connection between a brother and a sister, but out of the corner of her face, Sid the Sloth comes into 30% opacity because they watched Ice Age together, you have lost me. And when you use the xenomorph, one of the most fascinating, iconic characters from cinema, as a glorified house cat, I don't like that. And long story short, I didn't like Alien Earth. Well, there you have it, my top 5 reasons why this show just did not appeal to me and why I basically hate watched the entire first season. Well, there you have it, my final thoughts on Alien Earth. Let me know yours in the comments below. Please, again, think of subbing to the show Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I post movie reviews, rants, live streams, all movie related. Occasionally, I dip into TV shows, but I'd love to have you stick around. I'd appreciate it. Take care. If you appreciate my content, I am a one-man band. This is a ton of work and you want a way to give back. Head on over to patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. There's tons of exclusive perks over there. Look at these awesome supporters so far. There's some of the best people on this planet and you could be one of them. You could be right there alongside and I would appreciate it.